Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show, brought to you each week by the National Sports Collectors Convention. Join us every Wednesday evening at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time and get the latest news from the greatest experts in the sports collectibles world. You can watch us on the Great American Collectibles Facebook page, as well as YouTube, or you can listen to us on Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, or any of your favorite podcast platforms. And now your hosts, award-winning sports collectibles author Tom Zappola and Red Sox Hall of Famer Rico Petrocelli.
Rico Petrocelli, Red Sox Hall of Famer. How are you, brother?
Hi, how you doing, Tom? Just nice to see you again. It's been a long, long time, you know?
Yeah, last week.
He's going. Give me a hug. Come on.
Oh, yeah, get Elsie. We want to get Elsie. There we go. Hey, Elsie.
Hi.
She's going to one of the girls that having a party.
Going out to lunch.
With the party girls.
Awesome. Awesome. Welcome to the Great American. That is a great opening. Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show. Tom Zapp, my good friend, co-host, Paisan, Red Sox Hall of Famer Rico Petrocelli. Got a great show today. We got two of our favorites on. We're going to bring in our first favorite right now, Steve Verkman from Clean Sweep Auctions and Leland's. You know, he's like a big wheel now, Rick. He's a tycoon. He's a tycoon.
Well, he's a great guy, and he's very bright, too.
Stephen, hi, brother.
How's everything with you guys?
Good. Everything is well. Steve, let's talk. You have an auction going on right now. Tell us about it, when it starts, number one, and when it ends.
Well, it ends tonight and tomorrow night, so we're right on the gun here. So this auction we have is something I don't think anyone else in the hobby does. This is stuff that we call it our affordable auction. So almost everything in the auction is worth $500 or less, has bids, and it's just there's over 2,000 lots. Half of it ends today on Wednesday, half of it ends tomorrow on Thursday night. People have to have their initial bids in by 8 o'clock Eastern time each night, and there's just a world of items. So, for example, day one is almost all about baseball autographs. So there's 1,000 lots of signed baseball, signed photos, signed 3x5, signed cards, and just all manner of things like that. We have of several collections that are very interesting that are featured throughout the auction. I mean, one thing which is kind of cool, we got a consignment from an old book dealer, and he had all kinds of 19th century items. In our last smaller auction, there was a really cool cabinet card that got over $3,000 that we hadn't seen before. So this time there's a whole bunch of Harper's prints, there's books, there's photographs, and not just baseball, there's some football ones too. So things you just don't see that aren't like super expensive, but they're just really cool. So there's
Steve, I was going to say, this auction, how many times a year do you do an auction like this?
we do this 3 times a year.
3 times a year, because I know that you've always, this is one of your signature auctions, because it has always appealed to the guy that can't spend $250,000 or $50,000 on an item. Very, very affordable pieces. Let's talk about the autograph baseball cards. How many autograph cards do you have, approximately?
There's about 100 cards in there, and there are lots of them. They're like, what we find that's interesting in this auction is the people love to bid on the collections and the lots. So we'll have a group of 50 different 67 tops cards with some stars in it, and there'll be 10, sometimes 15 different bidders on it. So we're seeing like a lot of broad demand for people just want stuff. The collectors, it's a cliche, but the collectors want to collect. They want to have stuff. And sometimes it's more fun to buy a whole group of stuff than just to buy one item.
Absolutely. Rick?
I was going to say that the cards like in between, I think in between 60s, 70s seem to be getting more interest. And I go back, no wisecracks, Tom.
You go back 1887. I understand that.
The 50s. And those cards stand out in my mind, as opposed to the vintage, which is obviously great, Ruth and so on. But the cards in the middle now seem to be, getting more interest overall.
That's a good point, Steve. Is he right?
Oh no, I want to ask him also about the autographs, because you're not going to get too many more autographs, especially with the present day players and maybe even guys who have retired, because they don't want to give it away because it's worth more.
And the manufacturers are nailing them as before the cards are even issued. Steve, what are your thoughts on that? That we used to call them the in-betweeners. Not the 60s and 70s are now vintage for a lot of young people. Are you seeing an uptick in those decades?
Even they if you go to shows, they call the '80s cards vintage too.
Yeah.
They consider those old cards. It's a weird thing, but I guess they are. They're 40 years old now from the '80s stuff. So yeah, there's always solid demand for that. But there's a lot of people. It's amazing trying to make, like with the autograph cards, trying to make complete sets trying to get every single card from a set, which is kind of crazy, but they love it. And certain sets like the 64 Tops Giants, we have a couple group slots of those. They're just so popular. There's like an unlimited demand, it seems, for things like that. The Perez Steels got really hot. Part of that is slabbing, but we're doing more with those than ever. And I love those things. I don't think anyone's handled as many as we have. We love those and always have. And so there's a lot of new people collecting all this stuff. So yeah, you could say that, but everybody's kind of into everything what they like. People are into the stuff from the 30s too, and things like that. So it's hard to say, but the overall market though, is very strong and it's very broad.
Derek's coming on with us as our guest host shortly. And before we went on the air, we were talking. The four of us were talking, and he paid you some nice compliments. He paid you some compliments about Clean Sweep and what you've done with Clean Sweep. But now that you also own Leland's, you have it kind of like both cupboards. I mean, Leland's at one time is also now is a big competitor of Heritage and of the bigger auction houses. How much time are you devoting to the Leland's portion of your empire? I'll call it your empire.
Well, I split my time. It depends. It's situational. If there's some big collection that Leland's needs me for, I help them out. I mean, I'm very lucky. The people at Leland's do a fantastic job. I've left things in place. Everybody is still there. They're very talented. They have great relationships with their consigners and their customers. And and I'm not trying to overshoot it, but I'd like to think they just do things the right way. They get consignments and they care how they get lotted up. They ask the right questions, and we just try to do the right thing for everybody. And I get involved when I need to be, and it's very busy. There's a lot of traveling. We set up at shows together, and the big thing, for me was it's just there's efficiencies that we couldn't do before. So there's a lot of lots that aren't appropriate for Leland's that are perfect for Clean Sweep, and then Clean Sweep gets a lot of stuff in that are better in the Leland's auction, so we can maximize everybody's returns better.
The auctions coincided. In other words, I know you have an auction schedule for Clean Sweep, an auction schedule for Leland's. Do you ever run two auctions at the same time?
I mean, not the classic auctions. There's 3 Leland's classic auctions and 3 Clean Sweep classic auctions. Although, it's funny, when we did the first deal, the 2 auctions were only 2.5 weeks apart, and they actually both did really, really, really well.
Did they really?
You never know. We were debating how to handle that, and we pushed to get the deal done. To piggyback the marketing for the 2 auctions, and they both did great. So
it's funny because when Rico and I, we're going back 9 years ago now, when Rico and I, the first year of the show, we used to do a segment every week, well, every other week with Josh Evans. He would do a 6-minute segment with us every other week. And he was hysterical. I mean, we used to just, Rico, you remember he used to sing? I mean, we used to do all of that stuff. And then, who was our guest the other week? Ken Golden. So it was like 1 week it was Josh, the next week it was Ken, 1 week it was Josh, the next week it was Ken. And you didn't know what the hell was going to happen with those 2 guys. But it was pretty funny. What else? What other highlights? Actually, you know what I want to ask you? Let's go through your schedule, your Clean Sweep schedule, if you can, for 2025.
Yeah, so I'll tease you a little bit on the thing. Hopefully, this comes out right on air. We got some crazy stuff coming up for the next Clean Sweep Classic auction. So this is Elections, Babe Ruth, and a PSA 5. It's one of the rare cards. We have a Rogers Pete, Babe Ruth, and a 5. We've got some sick things coming up. We have 2 Honus Wagner cards, really, really good ones. And see this a Tip Top Bread and
that's a great card.
Let me see if I can hold
the one on your right hand. Yeah, was that an E90-2?
E90-2 and a Tip Top Bread.
What's the E90? What's the grade on the E90-2?
Came back a 1.5, and then there's a tip top red. This is the E90-2.
I'll tell you what, that E90-2 was that's a great car. That's a great car. They call it the poor man's Wagner, right? But it's just a great car. I owned one of those at one time.
Ask you, is there any more Wagners out there, or the collectors get all of them that are,
It's a good question.
I guess,
Nothing that was purchased in the last 30 years has gotten thrown out. So they shift. So these Wagners that we have here, I think the customer bought them from us like 25 years ago. So they're not going to get thrown out. We just got them graded. They're not everything's graded like people might think, but that stuff is out there. But it's a matter of if somebody wants to sell it, if they want to keep it. But they are really rare, and they're supremely desirable. So anyway, so getting back to your question, so the next Clean Sweep Classic auction, which we're still taking stuff for, that's going to go live in May and end in June, and we have this unbelievable consignment to open up the auction with these some crazy rare cards, a bunch of 1914 Cracker. Yep. Walter Johnson. So, the merger's been working out well, and it's been a lot of neat stuff has come in for both places.
Good for you. And your website address?
So it's cleansweepauctions.com. Remember, it's the affordable auction. It ends tonight, Wednesday night, tomorrow, Thursday night. The initial bid's by 8:00. Cleansweepauctions.com. About 2,200 lots, all kinds of fun stuff.
Sorry, we're not going to be in Boston. We're still in Florida. You're going to be in Boston this coming weekend. Correct, at the Shriners, or are you not going to be there?
I won't personally be there, but Leland's will have a booth there.
Good. Wish you the best, Steve, and we'll talk to you down the road.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks so much.
Take care. Steve Verkman from Clean Sweep and Leland's. Great job, and wishing him the best. All right, let's bring in our other guest host for today, the one, the only, Mr. Wonderful, Mr. Derek Grady, Executive Vice President of Heritage Auctions. Mr. Grady, how are you?
Good. Hey, why was I muted during the? I should be in these interviews. I asked the better questions. Me and Rico were the ones that asked the better questions.
That was my producer's call.
That was a producer's call because I need to interject in these things. I'm tribal knowledge here of the hobby from the early inception. So.
Oh my God, I'm going to throw up. All right.
And I need to be commenting in here, and I would have paid Steve a lot of good compliments. And by the way, you did tell him that I said nice things.
I mentioned that.
We didn't say that on air though. What I said.
No, how are you feeling?
Good. I'm doing really well.
A year or more, and
100% cancer free.
So wait a second. You're saying 100% cancer free. Is that your opinion, or did you get that officially?
Scans and oncologist and surgeon that's a brilliant Harvard educated surgeon from Fox Chase said you have, and I mean, again, nothing to fear except to your next scan, but this is a very curable type. I got lucky. It's a testicular germ cell type cancer, and it doesn't last long versus the chemo regimen I went through. And then the surgeon was brilliant and got the rest of it, or what was, the rest of what was left. And they're showing signs of nothing in my blood work or nothing. So,
Derek, I tell you what, man, we no one busts your chops, I don't think, more than me. However, everybody in this hobby was pulling for you. Everybody.
Thank you.
Right?
Praying for him.
Oh, thank you so much, because it worked. And, now I'll have routine tests every 6 months or something, but definitely, no, I've been back to work full time, traveling, crazy schedule at Heritage. I have not anymore. I wouldn't know there's any difference other than a huge scar on, on my chest where they had to go in.
Right. Right. Good for you.
So yeah, no, everything's great. Thank you.
Hey, Rico, before I forget, congratulations to you. You made us all very proud. Especially the gang, the Italian gang down here, they were just thrilled to be able to watch you, because they're all New York fans, as you know, but they were thrilled to be able to watch you at Fenway Park. For those of you that don't know, opening day was last week, and the Red Sox flew all of the 75 Red Sox team back to Fenway Park for opening day and introduced them. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful event. Rico was there. Rico, when did they fly you out of here, out of Florida?
Anniversary of the 75 team. That's all. I'm done.
No, seriously, when did they fly you out?
When?
Yeah, last what?
Last week.
I know last week.
Oh, April 1st.
Okay.
April 1st to the 5th. We stayed there. Left came back here on the 5th. And stayed home. We saw the kid. One of the wonderful things is that, we saw all my former teammates, great Hall of Famers. Kari Ostremski, Gaz, is 85 years old. And
he looked like he struggled a little bit.
Yeah.
He struggled when he threw out the first pitch, but
it was a great time. That's I think that's the last one. 50 years, the two World Series that I was in, 67 and 75. 67, I don't know who's still around. And 75, the guys
some of them. Derek, jump in here, brother. By the way.
No, listen, it's great.
I got to tell you something, Rico. A couple of observations. Rick Burleson looks great. I think Rick looks great. There's a couple of other players that look really good, but I got to be honest with you, Rico. And I know we're good friends.
You never fooled me.
If you take Freddie Lynn, you take Jimmy Rice, you take a couple of the younger guys, put them aside. You look fabulous compared to some of your old teammates. Some of them, they look like they're up there.
What do you expect us to look like?
You look phenomenal.
No, but I'm saying,
we're all getting older there, Tom.
Oh, it's
yeah, but you know something. I've seen, Rico. I've seen some players you played against, some you played with. I mean, some of these guys are really struggling physically, and you're holding your own. You're doing well.
Listen
Playing
to
golf.
Tom. Again, he's a medical researcher. He just determined that some people age better than others. I mean, this is amazing. This is profound what you get out of the show. He just discovered that some people age better than others. I mean,
Rico,
that's profound.
Help me here, Rico, will you please?
Well, no, I mean,
so Rico aged better than Yaz. Okay.
My four brothers were like that. They didn't look their age at all.
And they lived to be pretty old.
One of my brothers was 90. My sister lived till 99.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's unbelievable.
80. So anyway, with that, but the thing is, as you know, Tom, I take care of myself, and I watch what I eat. I do 10 miles a day. Derek, he doesn't believe it.
He doesn't do crap,
miles.
Derek. He doesn't do crap. The only thing he does is smoke cigars and swing a golf club. That's the only freaking thing he does.
Okay. Well, it's working for him.
It is.
That's
One
good.
last question, Rico. How was the dinner the night before? Did they have a nice dinner for you guys?
Excellent dinner. Great. Yeah, we had great food. They do it right. I mean, all the teams when they bring the guys in. But the Red Sox ownership has been great to us, former players, and it's great. It's really fun to go to Fenway Park, and it's a great place to go. Any collectors, you get a chance to go to Fenway Park. Those millions that are watching and listening, go there because it's just a great place. It's exciting.
All right, listen, before we take a break, we got a lot to talk about with Derek. And of course, we have the AI tournament coming up. Derek, real quickly though, before we take a break, April and May spring auctions. You've got some big auctions coming up, correct?
We do. We have currently we have the March to Greatness auction, which is because of the Ovechkin. So we partnered with MyGray, which is really, one of the standards in jersey authentication. They've been doing this for years. They have the deal with the Washington Capitals, but they're known photo matching. When something is a MyGray, nobody's debating that. They're top of the line when it comes to photo matching and authentication. And Barry Meisel's been doing this for a long time. So anyway, we partnered with him for some Ovechkin jerseys. We got a couple Gretzky jerseys, a Crosby jersey. It's like an 11 lot auction, but there's a Gordie Howe. There's a few Ovies in there. There's the Crosby I talked about, 2 Gretzky jerseys, a Messier jersey, Connor McDavid first jersey as a captain, So that ends. I will get you the dates on that as I'm still talking. We have a showcase auction right now. The March to Greatness auction ends on April 19th, and that's only 11 lots, but they're really all photo matched historic jerseys. And then we have our showcase auction, which is, you heard Steve talk about an affordable auction. I would say our showcase auction, we have 52 Manals in there, and we have 51 Bowman Manals, but we also have items that are a couple $100. And so that's a nice auction with a ton of different oddball stuff, sets, autographs, maybe some game worn stuff. And that, that ends at the end of April. And then we roll into our May catalog auction where, we pretty much are putting that to bed right now. Some of our highlight pieces haven't hit marketing yet, but I can tell you we have a Jordan jersey that's 7 figures that has been photo matched to, one of his the first championship run. And really great pieces coming up in May. So we're extremely busy.
Good. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back,
Just
we're going to come back with the AI. What?
Tom, can I ask a quickie?
No, you have to wait.
Oh, Derek, I want to ask you if Gretzky's stuff has gone down a little bit because of the record.
Not really. I mean, because photo matching and getting these, there's not enough Gretzky jerseys out there for demand. So that's the good news. There's just not enough out. There's not enough out there, and he's still the greatest ever in my mind. And I can, tell you who I think are the greatest player. And obviously, Ovechkin has his goals, but Gretzky still has more assists than anybody has points. Right. So combined and champion. I mean, he's
crazy stuff.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We come back. It's the second game of the Final Four, the Great American AI GAX baseball tournament. And Derek has been on edge waiting for the results. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Curry, a 2-time child cancer survivor, recipient, and advocate for Lucy's Love Bus. The mission of Lucy's Love Bus, 501c3 nonprofit, is to provide joy, comfort, and quality of life for the entire family of children with cancer. Since 2006, they have delivered love and comfort to over 3,000 children with cancer and their family members across New England. The dream of Lucy Grogan, an 11-year-old cancer patient, was to help kids with cancer who are suffering right now, before there is a cure, by offering free, integrative therapies like art, music, horseback riding, and many other activities. Unfortunately, Lucy passed away, but her dream lives on, and today Lucy's Love Bus is thriving.
I'm Red Sox Hall of Famer Rico Petrocelli. I hope that you'll consider supporting Lucy's Love Bus and all of those children who have been stricken by cancer. The Great American Collectibles Show is partnering with Lucy's Love Bus to help these kids. Let's continue Lucy's dream. Please go to lucyslovebus.org for more information.
Since 1996, Brian Drent and the staff at Denver's Mile High Card Company have led the charge in the collectibles hobby. Mile High is a full-service dealer specializing in buying and selling cards and offers a competitive consignment program for all collectors. Whether it be their computerized want list service, appraisals, or auction services, Mile High has it all. If you've been searching for a company with a selection of high-grade vintage 1888 to 1970 baseball cards and memorabilia that shares your passion, aim high, Mile High. Go to milehighcardco.com or call 303-840-2784 for more information.
With record-breaking sales from everything from the white border T206 Honus Wagner for $3.12 million to some great items that support the Jackie Robinson Foundation, Golden Auctions has set the highest standards for the finest in sports cards, autographs, and game-used memorabilia. We're always accepting consignments of high-end premium sports treasures or entire collections. Please register for our next auction and bid now at goldenauctions.com. That's golden with an I. We at Golden Auctions are committed to providing unsurpassed customer service for the discriminating collector. That's exactly why we're the leader in the industry. Visit goldenauctions.com or call 856-767-8550. Remember, Golden Auctions. We don't just break records, we shatter them.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
This is Brian Drent, president of Mile High Card Company. Is your sports card and memorabilia collection properly insured? For easily replaced personal property, homeowners insurance is all most people need. But for prized possessions that you may have spent a lifetime collecting, it doesn't go nearly far enough. Collectibles Insurance Services has been insuring for over 50 years. They offer a full range of protection and a $0 deductible at an affordable rate with no appraisals required. I know because they insure my collection. If you have a minute, go to collectinsure.com and learn more about insuring your personal card or memorabilia collection.
How would you like to own the bat that was used by your favorite player when he hit that towering home run or game-winning base hit? Now look no further than JT Sports, specializing in the sale and authentication of professional game-used bats. As the official authenticators of professional model game-used bats for PSA DNA, JT Sports will guarantee the authenticity of any bat purchased from them. JT Sports also buys and sells game-worn uniforms, gloves, and baseball equipment. The unique quality of the collectible is what JT Sports is all about. Give them a call at 609-487-8003 or check them out at GameUseBats.com.
Okay, we are back. Derek is in the house. Derek Grady, the good Derek Grady. There's a good Derek Grady and there's a bad Derek Grady. The good Derek Grady's with us. The bad Derek Grady is when he's goofing on me all the time, which today's an actually pretty good week. What do you think?
Oh, but you don't rag on him at all, right?
Never. Absolutely never.
You know, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Why is that?
agree.
Because talking to an expert, a man that's been in business for years, stuff.
Years.
And you don't know.
You don't know shit. Oh, can I say that?
Yeah, you can say it.
Well,
shit from Shinola.
Thank you.
Is that what the old timers say? Shit from Shinola.
All right, it's time for the Great American AI Jacks Baseball Tournament, brought to us each week by our good friend Paul Borges and the staff at PB Collectibles, your neighborhood card shop. Go to pbcollectibles.com to purchase that special vintage card that you have been looking for. Okay, we are excited. This is the Final Four, second game of the Final Four. Last week, the 27 Yankees got into the I'm sorry. That wasn't a 27. It was the 39 Yankees got into the finals. This week, it's the 1927 Yankees versus the 1998 Yankees. But before we do that, here's what the original pairings were like. Number 1, the 27 Yankees. Number 2, the 1906 Chicago Cubs. Number 3, the Cincinnati Red Machine. Number 4, the 98 New York Yankees. Number 5, the 2001 Seattle Mariners. Number 6, the 39 Yankees. Number 7, the 61 Yankees. Number 8, the 84 Detroit Tigers. Number 9, the 1919 Chicago Black Sox.
Is it necessary to read all the teams?
Yeah, people want to hear.
Is that what they do in the tournament too? After teams lose, they read
do.
all the teams.
There's only 6 left. There's only 6 left. Number 10, the 2004 Boston Red Sox. Number 11, the 42 St. Louis Cardinals. Number 12, the 86 New York Mets. Number 13, the 95 Atlanta Braves. Number 14, the 70 Baltimore Orioles. 15, the 29 Philadelphia Athletics. And number 16, the 1955 Brooklyn Dodgers.
Okay, yeah, that's not what you do when you move on in the playoffs. You don't read all the teams that lost. You just read what's left.
Rico, do you agree with that?
Yes.
You know something? You're such a pandering. You pandered
No.
to him.
And now he didn't. He's smart.
All right.
It's common sense.
Number here, all right, so here are the results. Here are the results of this week's game. The 19 I'm sorry, was it the 27 Yankees? I think
Yeah, 27 Yankees.
Plays the 1998
Yankees.
This is pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. All right. Here are the starting pitchers. We had, I believe it was David Cone. I'm sorry, it was Wade Hoyt against David Cone. Now that's a good matchup. Wade Hoyt versus David Cone. All right, you ready? First inning. Earl Combs leads off with a double and scores on Babe Ruth's RBI groundout. Cone strikes out Ruth and Gehrig to strand a runner, no score. Bottom of the second. Jorge,
wait, what umpires are we using? Are we using umpires from the 20s or the 90s?
90s.
90s umpires, okay.
Second inning, Jorge Posada walks. Chad Curtis drives him in with a single, and the score is tied 1-1. Third inning, Tony Lazzeri walks, and Babe Ruth crushes a 2-run homer to right, and the score is 3-1, 1927 Yankees. Bottom of the fourth inning, Scott Brocious doubles, Jeter singles him in, and Paul O'Neill adds an RBI single, and the score is tied 3-3. And by the way, this 98 team won about 108 or 110 games, I recall. Top of the fifth, Lou Gehrig answers with a solo shot to center field, and the 1927 Yankees take a lead of whatever it is, 4-3. Bottom of the fifth, Jorge Posada ropes an RBI single to score Bernie Williams and ties the score 4-4. Seventh inning, Bob Musial singles, steals second, and scores on a single by Earl Coombs, and the Yankees again take the lead 5-4. Eighth inning, Lou Gehrig doubles, scores on Lazzeri's single, and it's 6-4, 1927 Yankees. Bottom of the eighth, Tino Martino singles in Chuck Knobloch, and they cut the lead to 6-5. However, in the ninth inning, Will Seymour comes in, strikes out the first guy, single, and then induces a 6-4-3 double play to end the game, and the Yankees win 6-4. 6-5, I'm sorry. 1927 Yankees win. So next week's final, which is going to be for the championship.
Okay.
It's the 1927 Yankees against the 1939 Yankees.
Listen, you know how many 1998 Yankees won? How many games?
They won over 110, right?
114. 114 games they won.
Derek, who was the better team?
I'm never going to say anybody's better than the 27 Yankees. You're just not going to get that out of my
I agree with you. I think I totally agree with you. If you look at the 27 Yankees team, man, they had no weaknesses. Even their pitching staff. Their pitching staff was good. They had a really, really good team. I don't know how many All-Stars they had on that. They had a hell of a lot of All-Stars, too, on that.
Of course. Yeah.
Right? Rico, you knew a few of them.
I'm sure. They got Hall of Famers all over the place. So
what's your prediction? 27 Yankees over the 39 Yankees for next week?
27 Yankees.
Rick, what do you say?
27.
All right, we're going to see.
So I told you we could have ended this before it started. The 27 Yankees were going to win. So there you go. But thank you.
We'll see.
Thank you for.
All right, let's get back to talking with Mr. Wonderful. And that is Derek Grady from Heritage.
Yeah.
All right, listen. What direction is this hobby heading? To me, it's just all over the place. Is it good? Is it bad? Young kids are really investing in a lot of modern cards. What direction is the hobby going in, Derek?
I mean, it's exploding. I would say it's. I used to say the hobby doubled, and then I don't even think I can just say it doubled. I think it's tripled, quadrupled. I think when you have, fanatics taking over Tops and ramping up production, and they're selling out of products, and that goes for soccer and Formula One racing, and that, then you've got the Pokemon, which again, it's technically separate. We have a TCG department at Heritage, so we do take in some of that stuff. You will see it at sports shows. It is definitely a craze that is not going away. It's been going on for 30 years or something, and it is not slowed down. So you have people engaged in opening packs. And then, I've always argued that we would be, when, a Sunday at a Philly show in the Valley Forge Casino, or at a Boston show on a Sunday, or some of these shows on Sundays, it really cleared out. As you know, shows would clear out at 2:00 in the afternoon, 1 in the afternoon on a Sunday. And that might have been 2015, 16, 17, and before. Now, the show can be really well attended even up until the closing bell at 4:00 on a Sunday. You see more people than ever. Shows are setting attendance records. Local shows, national shows, tables are sold out, years in advance, and they can't even add any more tables to some of these. So you're seeing more shows pop up. You're seeing new promoters come in. You saw Lucky's. We'll be at the Lucky show in Boston, and simultaneously we'll be in Strongsville. And then 2 weeks later, we'll be in Toronto, and we'll be in Long Island. I mean, there's so many shows, and I don't like to turn down a show, but I also have to have a personal life. And we only have so many people that, even with a big Heritage team, you need 2 people and a safe, and, you have to be secure at these shows. So we always take 2 experts with us. But it's back to what you started with. The hobby has grown tremendously. You see young kids with briefcases carrying around 10 grand in cards, 100 grand. I mean, it's unbelievable what I've seen come out of these cases. It's really interesting to see. And you see more women at shows, women collectors. You see a little bit of everything. Every gender, every race, it's everything has just blown through the roof, and it's great.
Derek, I was at a card show down in Palm Beach, West Palm.
How was that one?
Well, there were like 100 dealers, but I got to tell you something. 35 of them, I counted them, were Pokemon dealers.
Yeah.
Is this like exploding, this whole Pokemon phenomenon?
It is. Look, I literally thank God we have experts in Pokemon at Heritage, and that is a separate division, because I can't tell you anything other than Charizard and some of those, and again, I don't even know that he's the most valuable card anymore. I know he's good, but they make, when these things go out in Target, they're off the shelves. GameStop, they sell, wherever they sell Pokemon, it is a worldwide phenomenon. And
so you have an expert. Heritage has a Pokemon expert.
Yes.
I would like to get
maybe more than one of them.
Rico, we really do
Garcia's ours.
Yeah, we need to do a Pokemon show, Rico, because you and I and John know nothing about it. I know we have some collectors. We really should do a Pokemon show, Rick.
No. The question I have for Derek is, where do people go, collectors especially, go to learn more about Pokemon?
Good question.
That's a great question, because I actually have been told by some other sports guys on one at the White Plains show. He literally came up to me and said, the learning curve isn't that hard, but you should want to learn, because this is not going away. This is the hottest single item that has stayed this hot. I mean, game used can go up and down, autographs can go up and down, modern versus vintage, but Pokemon has been a consistent trajectory, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. And I just said, listen, we have people for that. I'm not gonna get into the weeds there. So I took in some Pokemon consignments at the show, and I still will, but I talked to my expert at Heritage, and we can get him on the show for sure.
I'd love to. Seriously,
he can give you pointers on where you would go, how to educate yourself. You guys have grandkids. What should they be buying? What should they stay away from so they don't get ripped off? Because I would know nothing on Pokemon. I wouldn't even want to just Google it and I trust Jesus at our company, very well adept at it. So I think he would be a good guest. Maybe he can explain it, because you're going to start to see more non-sports shows and TCG shows. So what you saw at the sports card show where there's, a bunch of Pokemon.
It was
dealers.
amazing. I was like,
Yeah.
it was like shocking.
And there are some dealers that carry some unopened wax, especially. They'll have some packs and boxes. I don't know how many people have single cards, but you'll see them in dealer showcases. So when we're in Boston this weekend, I'm sure there's going to be some Pokemon on the floor, but at some point you'll start to see more trading card game shows where Pokemon.
Well, here's the other thing that was a little disheartening at this show. As I said, there were probably 100 dealers there, Derek, and there were about 35 Pokemon. And I would say out of the 100, there could not have been more than 5 vintage dealers.
Yeah. And some of these new shows popping up, again, who has the vintage? A lot of the old time dealers, a lot of the same dealers that have had for 30 years, 20 years, 15 years. And so a lot of these guys are committed to X amount of shows, through the calendar year. Like we can't just keep adding shows. We're going to do the White Plains, the Chicago's, the Canadian shows, the Dallas card show, Long Beach show, the Philly show. We do 3 of that. I mean, I'm already probably doing 10 or 12 shows. I can't be, and then we have our day job too. So it's like, it's hard to get everywhere. But there is a market literally everywhere. I think you could just pop a show up, and you're starting to see it more and more. I do think, just like anything, we've seen this before in the 80s or 90s, where there's a shop on every block, where there's a show every weekend.
Right.
You would tend to think we're at the, I don't think we're there yet, but I think at some point there will be oversaturation, and then it will come back down to earth again.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we still may have a ways to go, because everybody I talk to, the attendance is record setting. Drellick's Philly show is just record setting attendance. Chantilly's show, I got, good feedback from the Chantilly show. Like people are looking, they love this hobby. And I've always wondered why this wasn't like this, my whole life, because sports stadiums have been selling out for decades, right?
Right.
Why wouldn't I've always collected, so I don't understand why somebody at a stadium sitting next to me doesn't collect, or why that person doesn't collect, or this person. I feel like the hobby, and there's a price point for everybody. You can get in pretty cheap. You can collect. Doesn't have to be high grade vintage. It can be low grade vintage.
Right. Rico?
It's been on TV a lot with Wagner and all that. In the past, you never heard very much about it. Maybe there was a couple of magazines out, that had the prices, all of that stuff. But now, every time something comes up big,
it's all over the place.
It's all over the place. You hear 52 man a whole lot.
The market.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like unbelievable.
Well, look at the Chiro.
Ohtani.
God, Chiro's going into the Hall of Fame. Ohtani's the big star today.
Right.
Obviously, his card, we just sold one for over $1 million. That was a pack pulled one of one card, and the bidding was fierce. And you saw the Paul Skeens card sell for over $1 million, and Dick Sports bought it. And so you're seeing there's so many headlines now. Where back in the 80s and 90s, there were when a Ruth jersey sold, or a Mantle jersey sold, or a Wagner card sold, there were no headlines. Now you're seeing national headlines. Like to Rico, his point, you're hearing about this all the time in the news.
All right. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. Derek is in the house. A point of reference. I know I don't make many mistakes, as you guys know, but I did make a brief mistake on next week's AI. You're going to love this, Derek. The 1939
Give the game wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, they're playing the 2004 Red Sox next week. So, and then
so it's not the championship game next week.
Correct. My apologies. First mistake I've made in 25 minutes. So with that being said, Derek's in the house. We got another segment. Hang in there, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Curry, a 2-time child cancer survivor, recipient, and advocate for Lucy's Love Bus. The mission of Lucy's Love Bus, 501c3 nonprofit, is to provide joy, comfort, and quality of life for the entire family of children with cancer. Since 2006, they have delivered love and comfort to over 3,000 children with cancer and their family members across New England. The dream of Lucy Grogan, an 11-year-old cancer patient, was to help kids with cancer who are suffering right now, before there is a cure, by offering free integrative therapies like art, music, horseback riding, and many other activities. Unfortunately, Lucy passed away, but her dream lives on, and today Lucy's Love Bus is thriving.
I'm Red Sox Hall of Famer Rico Petroselli. I hope that you'll consider supporting Lucy's Love Bus and all of those children who have been stricken by cancer. The Great American Collectibles Show is partnering with Lucy's Love Bus to help these kids. Let's continue Lucy's dream. Please go to lucyslovebus.org for more information.
Pristine Auction is a family-owned and operated online auction specializing in autographed memorabilia, sports cards, coins, art, and collectibles. Since their founding in 2010, they've grown to 2 facilities in Phoenix, Arizona, totaling over 60,000 square feet. Jared Cavalier and an incredible staff of over 150 team members serve a very large customer base and enjoy every minute of it. By working with leading authentication companies, Pristine ensures all items are 100% authentic. In addition, third-party authenticators regularly travel to Pristine Auction to provide authentication services on site. Pristine Auction strives to operate its business in a way that's honoring to God, their families, and their customers. With a strong focus on speed, quality, and premier customer service, their mission is to be the leading online auction for every level of collector and fan. Pristine also works for Hope Sports and Identity Hoops International, traveling to Mexico to build houses for the less fortunate. Pristine Auction offers several online auction formats with thousands of auctions ending each day. For more information, go to pristineauction.com. That's Pristine Auction, the best in the business.
If you're a discerning collector interested in owning the most important pieces in the hobby, look no further than Leland's Auctions. The original sports auction and appraisal house, Leland's was established in 1985 by legendary Pioneer founder Joshua Leland Evans. And today, President Mike Hefner carries on their tradition. From the Tom Brady card and memorabilia collection to the famed Boston Garden auction to high-end card auctions from every major sport, Leland's has always maintained the highest standards. Go to Lelands.com and get your bid in. That's Leland's, the hobby's leading sports auction house for 4 decades.
This is Brian Drent, president of Mile High Card Company. Is your sports card and memorabilia collection properly insured? For easily replaced personal property, homeowners insurance is all most people need. But for prized possessions that you may have spent a lifetime collecting, it doesn't go nearly far enough. Collectibles Insurance Services has been insuring for over 50 years. They offer a full range of protection and a $0 deductible at an affordable rate with no appraisals required. I know because they insure my collection. If you have a minute, go to collectinsure.com and learn more about insuring your personal card or memorabilia collection.
It's often been said that championships are won on the practice field, and world records come only to those willing to work harder than everybody else. Heritage Auctions is the world's largest collectibles auctioneer because we believe that becoming the best is only an invitation to the challenge of remaining the best. This requires the skills of the hobby's top experts, capable of identifying and maximizing value for our consigners. It requires the most visited website in the industry, courting a global audience of collectors over 1.5 million strong. It requires a dedicated press department that expands our global reach far beyond the entrenched hobby marketplace. It's hard work, but a simple premise. Present the finest collectibles to the largest population of potential buyers, and world records will come. We invite all listeners to put the unmatched power of Heritage Auctions to work for you. Auction evaluations are always free, and our commission-based fee structure ensures that our interests are always aligned. The highest possible price for your collectibles. There will always be new world records to chase, so let's chase them together. Visit our website at ha.com and request your no-obligation review today.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
Hey, I'm Mike Petroselli. If your company is looking for the best in marketing and promotional items, you'll hit a home run with Petroselli Marketing. With over 8,000 suppliers and 650,000 imprint-ready items, we can get your company the visibility it needs to get your maximum exposure. Whether it be office promotions, wearables, automotive, sports items, and everything in between, Petroselli Marketing can do it all. Our design staff will even work with you from concept to delivery and customize your products. At Petroselli Marketing Group, we will get your brand in front of your audience. Contact us at info@petrosellimkt.com or call us at 603-880-3202. That's Petroselli Marketing, where no dream is impossible.
And a young kid, he's best thing to do is go to Petroselli, Petrosellimkt.com.
Can you get me something free? Can you get me like a free coat?
When we get home, I want you to come and see the office there has a lot of stuff. And I'll give it to you half price.
You know, if you were a real good friend, you'd send our friend Derek Grady something too. Don't be so cheap.
Give me the address. Oh, kidding. Give me Derek's address. You don't even know it.
Oh, I could get it from Derek
Ellen
right
probably
there.
has it, yeah.
Yeah, she does. All right, Rico, tell us about our good friend Tom Ruggie and the staff at Destiny Wealth Management.
Have patience out there, please, because this is like a book. I want to talk to you about our friend Tom Ruggie. Oh, you just said that. Staff at Destiny Wealth Management. If you're a card or memorabilia collector, have you ever thought about how to manage your collection long term? Well, I certainly have. I look at my personal collection and through the advice and expertise of Tom Ruggie, have learned that you need a professional to help categorize, evaluate, and eventually put a liquidation plan together with dealers.
You can't even say that.
If you or your family decides to sell your collection, hey, most importantly, you need to be aware of the tax ramifications when you liquidate. Although Zapp and JM have begged me to include them when it comes time to depart with my 40th home run ball or my 1967 World Series glove or my 67 hat, I'm going to Tom Ruggie and the Wealth Management Group. And don't forget, Ruggie Wealth Management will also handle all of your investment needs. That's Ruggie Wealth Management, the go-to company to manage your collectible decisions.
And don't forget this week, and Derek's going to be there, so make sure you go see him. The Boston show presented by Lucky's Promotions is Friday to Sunday, April 11th through the 13th, held at the Shriners Auditorium in Wilmington, Mass. Shop over 300 of your favorite hobby dealer tables on over 40,000 square feet of the sports collectibles paradise of vintage and modern-day sports cards and memorabilia. Authentication companies in attendance will be JSA, BAS, grading companies in attendance, BGS and SGC. The Boston show is family-friendly, and all kids 12 and under get in for free. Show hours, I'm not going to go over. Just show up there. You're going to have a blast and get ready for the biggest and best show in Boston. Here are some of the people that are going to be there. Manny Ramirez, David Ortiz, Mike Lowell, and Steve Pearce are all together for the first time. Super tickets are available for photo ops and autographs for all 4 of the Red Sox World Series MVP together. Other guests include Jonathan Papelbon, Wade Boggs, Andre Dawson, Steve Garvey, Dominique Wilkins, Scott Cooper, Michael Haynes, Rodney Harrison, Ronnie Lepet, and more. Go to luckycardshow.com for tickets and more information. That's luckycardshows.com. Now, Derek, you're going to be there. That's a pretty good show. That used to be the Altman show, right?
Yep. They bought the Altman show. Yeah, it's a good show. Absolutely.
Now, I don't know if you know this, Derek, but there's another Lucky's having another show in Wilmington the weekend of June 28th, 29th.
Yes.
Rico and I are going to be broadcasting from there. And by the way, in September, it's the 50th anniversary of the Philly show. We're going to be doing a special 2-hour show from there also, and you're going to be joining us.
Yeah, right? I will be. I plan on it.
All right. A couple of things. Card prices, fixed card prices. I have a concern. I talked about this, I believe, with you on the phone not too long ago. Is these rookie cards being signed coming out of the manufacturers? Is that hurting? If I walk up to a rookie, Roman Anthony, and ask him to sign a card at the ballpark versus a Roman Anthony rookie card that's being released by Topps, is there a big difference?
Yeah.
Why?
You have yours hand signed in person, so you got to send yours out, and now you're going to get card and autograph graded, and it's not going to be. I'm guessing you're not going to get a numbered card signed. So the one from the pack pulled manufacturer is going to be the better card.
I mean, that seems to be, like the value of rookie cards now. Those one-of-ones, manufactured rarities, they're the ones. I mean, before they're even released, they're exploding. But doesn't that devalue a card signed by a Roman Anthony, a rookie card at the ballpark?
No.
It doesn't at all.
No. I mean, I would still encourage kids to still get stuff signed. It's been a rite of passage for 100 years. Kids go to the ballpark and get things signed. I mean, they would typically hand over baseball. I mean, Rico, I'm sure he had his autograph asked for 1 million times. I mean, mostly people ask on baseballs, right, Rick? Is it baseballs mostly that they're handing you or throwing out to you?
Yep.
Did you sign many cards?
Now, yeah. Starting to get in the mail.
Back in the 70s, in the 60s, did you have many people present you with a card to sign or no?
Mailings.
Mail. Okay. Mail.
Wait a minute, Rico. In the 70s, people would mail you like your card and you sign it and mail it back to them?
Yeah. Yeah, because don't forget, at one of my era, the industry was, I don't even know if it was,
small.
Right.
Yeah, it was small, so no one really knew anything. So
right.
Get cards from little kids, Rico Pepperoni, and send them back. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Now, what about baseballs? But you signed a lot of baseballs at the ballpark.
A ton of baseballs, I bet.
Yeah, we used to have 12 per game. We had to sign before game.
Really?
Yeah.
You had to do 12 officially for the team.
Probably not every single game, but a lot.
What did they do with those? What did they do with them?
Yeah, what did they do with those?
No, they gave them out. They gave them to people, the organization.
Oh, really?
And then you still had an equipment manager, a bat boy, or somebody saying, hey, this person, right? And then they hand it down. So you're just constantly signing baseballs.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't every single day, but it was a lot.
Rico, did you guys do much signing last week at Fenway, or was that not part of the program?
No, I think I signed. Person had one. Dwight Evans is the author of his book.
Right.
Big guy. So I signed one of his items, and that's it. It was all celebration. Really, it was great.
No kidding. Derek, we got a couple of minutes left. So are trends changing? Are you seeing changing in the? I mean, I'm real concerned. And I know you guys are a big vintage house. Should I be concerned about the vintage market?
Well, no, I mean, listen, I was just telling Lee today, who, works with me, another VP here on the East Coast, that you've seen before. I met him at shows, that at some point with the grading companies being tighter, with more collections being discovered and sold, and people know what their cards are worth, and to get an 8 on an Aaron rookie or an 8 on a Clemente rookie is not easy to do. To go find a card from 54, 55, and now
Right.
you're going to submit it and get an 8. So we're getting, I feel, still a lion's share of cards, but as there's more collectors, an Aaron 8 is going to get absorbed. A Clemente 8, 7s.
Gotcha.
These higher grades are going to get absorbed, and you're not going to see them as frequently. Like before, you would see an Aaron 8 rookie in every auction, right? A Clemente 8 in every auction. Where you don't see Cobb 8s and Ruth 8s in every auction. We have a Gowdy Ruth 8 coming up in our May auction.
We got about a minute left. Go ahead.
Okay. So you don't see this as often anymore because people are absorbing them and they're taking them in and they're keeping them because they're collectors. True collectors, more true collectors now than ever. As the market gets bigger, you're going to have more speculators, you're going to have more collectors. Well, there's still a finite amount of vintage cards that are going to grade high. Okay. So to your point, we still have, yes, a great vintage section, but look at some of our modern prices. We have sold an Allen Iverson card for $800,000. We just sold an Ohtani card for $1 million.
Crazy
okay.
stuff.
We're getting great modern. If you look on our preview page, ha.com, go to the sports department and go to our May preview, you're going to see tons of great Jordan cards, Kobe cards, Ohtani cards. I mean, 5-figure cards, 6-figure cards. You're gonna see this stuff. So we have had to. Our clients want it, and a lot of our vintage clients do buy some modern because they pay attention to today's game and they want some modern. Now, I'm more conservative, so I don't have them go after $1 million modern card, but I'll have them, if they want a Paul Skeens card, here's a good one. If you want an Ohtani card, here's a good one. But yeah, we are doing both, and I'm not fearful. The vintage is great and it keeps going up. The modern, just like anything, just like we gambled on Greg Jeffries rookies in the 80s. Okay, there's feast and famine. I have 200 Todd Van Poppels and I have cards in my basement that are never going to be worth anything because the rookies didn't make it. But
listen, we got to wrap it up. Because the only reason being because our producer has an appointment.
Well, I should have my own show at this point, right? And Rico can hang with me. Yeah.
All right, listen. Your website address?
ha.com.
Listen, we're really, really glad. You look fabulous. You really look fabulous.
Thank you.
And we're all happy for you.
Thank you. Thank Rico. Thank you for everything with the prayers. I appreciate that, Tom. Same. I mean, it's been a blessing, that it was 6 months of, crap.
Yeah, but, you got through it. All right, we're out of time. Rico, next time I see you, we'll be at home, right?
Who? You'll be at home.
Oh, that's right. You're here till the end of April. You're right.
He's smart.
All right. Listen, Rick, enjoy the rest of your stay. Derek, as always, thank you so much for coming. To our viewers and listeners, thank you all. Special thanks to Steve Verkman. And with that being said, happy collecting. Take care.